Hey everybody, welcome back. James here again with you out here on my new table I got it for my bench shooting, but don't know how well it's going to work out. We'll see. But anyway, this is a follow-up video on part 1 with the pellet probe bumper. I've been getting a lot of good feedback on the part 1, and I figured I would answer some questions and also show more findings and facts about it and what I know and what I've seen so far. And I've been keeping a lot of the Air Venturi pages and the umarex origin page up to date with what I've been finding. But more than that, I'll be showing you more than what I've been showing on those pages if you follow me there. Also, again, what I have here is my Air Venturi 25 cal in front of you, and I'll let you know here in a little bit as to why. So just a little recap. So what happens is, using these factory Marauder style magazines, doesn't matter whether it's a Marauder or not, umarex Gauntlet, the Nova Vistas, the Avengers, Origin, all those guns that use the same magazine, what happens is that half moon carousel, allows the pellet probe to bypass it as it's cycling the pellet probe back to load another pellet forward into the breech. And I designed this pellet probe bumper to help out with the softer pellets, as many of you already know this. Now there's been some more findings that I've come across doing this, and a lot of you have asked whether or not it would help using with the car magazine, and is there a velocity difference. So I'm going to answer those comments and questions as much as possible in this video. But also a couple other things that I found. It does not matter whether it's a soft pellet or a harder pellet like crosman, JSB or crosman, or whatever pellet you use. The reason why I'm saying that, as you guys seen in the first video, part 1, it seems that the projectile, no matter what it is, stays straighter in the magazine. And why is that happening? Well, in the front of the magazine, when you reload a pellet, bring the probe back, it touches and rubs the pellet again because it bypasses the carousel in the magazine. And what happens is it causes the front of the pellet to turn in, the head, whether it's a slug or a pellet. And I'll let you know why, because I tested some slugs in this video too. But whether it's a slug or a pellet, when you pull the probe back, the next pellet rides along the probe and tilts it down inward. And that causes the straightness of the pellet going in the breech or slug to be off. And a lot of you already noticed this, certain slugs and certain pellets and all this and that in different magazines, whether it's CARM or the regular factory mags you get. A lot of you have noticed some inaccuracies with it. So again, I hope in this video, guys, make sure to give a thumbs up and comment below. But you see the testing that I've done, and I've really put in a lot of time and effort testing multiple guns in this video. Actually 3 different guns: the Air Venturi 22 caliber, the umarex Origin, and this 25. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the Air Venturi 22 caliber right now, and I'm using the factory magazine with the Crosman Premier pellets and JSB 1589 and some of the shooting and testing clips and some slugs. It's the 23 grain H&N 217 slug. The results are just amazing. They're crazy how this little pellet bumper actually helps out. And I'll show you some velocity reports, actual shooting footage of shooting through the chronograph and testing slugs with the CARM magazine, because a lot of you have asked, does it hurt with the CARM mag, using the CARM mag. So check this out, guys, and I'll be right back with you. Here we are, 50 yards. Holy crap. That is the first 5 shots without the pellet bumper using slugs. 23 grain. And you can see here, I moved up my point of impact, 1 mil dot holdover from dead zero here. 580 something feet per second, around 585 feet per second. 5 shots here with the pellet bumper at 50 yards. Holy cow. 3/8 of an inch. 5 shots, all 5. That is nuts. Less than 600 feet per second, guys, at 50 yards in the wind. Wow. 1800 psi regulator pressure, 0 turns on the hammer spring with my O-ring delete kit, factory magazine, and my pellet bumper in this group. That is nuts. Holy cow, 50 yards. Slugs. 100 yards, 9-mile-an-hour winds, Crosman Premier hollow point, 14.3 grain, 745 feet per second, 1800 psi regulator pressure, 0 turns on the hammer spring, O-ring delete, factory mag, and pellet bump. All I can say is, guys, is wow. 5 shots, 15/16 of an inch. Wow. Wow. 5 shots, H&N slugs, around 600 feet per second in this humidity. Holy cow. Pellet bumper and car mag. Okay, here we are, downrange camera, 50 yards, H&N 23 grain slugs, using the Carm magazine, O-ring delete kit, and pellet bumper. And let me tell you guys, this humidity is killing me. I don't know if you could see it in my scope cam, but gosh. So anyway, this group, 5 shots, center to center, all 5 just a hair over a ½ inch, and 4 of them, that's a tear, 4 of them looks to be about 1/4 inch or so, something like that. Not bad. 1/4 inch group without the flyer there because of the humidity. I can't, the scope was horrible. But other than that, I'm not complaining. Wow, I'm glad you guys asked to for me to test the car mag with the slugs, because that's just flat out amazing, even with the fogged up scope. So, wow. So here's 5 shots with the pellet bumper on, 1800 psi regulator pressure, air in the cylinder, 0 turns on the hammer spring, about 3 feet away. .764. .774. 774, 774, 778. Now I'm taking the bumper off. It's that easy. It's not super easy to take off, but it's a slip, really nice tight slip fit. So it's off there. Take 5 more shots. And this is about 3 feet away from the muzzle. $7.87. $7.87. $7.91. $8.01. $8.07. And that was at 1800 psi regulator pressure, 0 turns in on the hammer spring. Okay, so now that you've seen how much it actually helps, which is mind-blowing, of how protecting the probe, the metal on the probe like that, really helps. And you may have noticed that the velocity is a little bit less than without it, using my O-ring delete kit, of course, on my guns. But there is about a 20 feet per second difference using the pellet bumper. And the reason why is it's taking up more space behind the projectile, whether it's a slug or a pellet. And the thing is, with that said, the flip side to that is that you're going to get better air consumption. You're using less air. If the pellet's going slower, of course, the valve is closing faster. And it seems, even using the car magazine, that the pellets are being sealed better because they're already straighter using the car mag, but the pellet bumper is helping it seal even better and shoot just as good. And I've heard, again, people emailing me and asking about the car magazines and not being able to use them with slugs. And again, this pellet bumper helps with that issue too. And it's just an extra feature, I think, that's great. So another thing I want to show you guys is some testing with the umarex Origin. I did some amazing shots with it. Even though it's an unregulated gun, you know, that pellet bumper, again, with the factory magazine, it shares the same probe tip as the Avenger. It's crazy what the guns can do with it versus without it. Again, it keeps the projectile so much straighter. It does not damage the pellet going into the next pellet going into the barrel. You know, again, it creates a better seal and less air consumption because of the spacing behind the pellet and projectile. So check this out, guys. This is something else with the Origin. H&N Barracuda 21 grain, 50 yards. Crosman copper Magnum 14 4 grain, 50 yards. JSB 1589, 50 yards. So here we are at 50 yards, and the reason why I'm sharing this with you guys, even though those groups are not nothing to brag about by no means, the Pellet Pro bumper that I've been testing and sharing is really significant. And the reason I say that is, as you could tell, all those are different pellets. And look, the point of impact is the same. Right of center, all of them. I don't care about the vertical. What I care about is how far off the center or how far off the crosshair they are when they're shot. H&N Barracuda match, 21 grain, 50 yards. Without the pellet bumper. "50 yards, Crosman Copper Magnum Dome 14.4. Without the pellet bumper. FX JSB 1589s, 50 yards, without the pellet bumper. "50 yards, JSB with the pellet bumper, factory mag. Wow, holy cow. Okay, at 50 yards, you could already see that the marked groups were the ones from with the probe bumper, and I rotated the target to see if there is a shift without it, and you can see there is a significant shift. The H&Ns were not to the right. Since this was flipped, they would have been over here. The coppers were shifted more towards the left again. The JSBs, the group here was without it, and this group was with it. So you shift it back. That is spot on. Wow. Just to verify, again, this group right here was with it back on. So the group center of the 5-shot first group shifted more to the left in this shooting setting, and the 5-shot with it that's a huge difference. I know it's 50 yards and that's not much to some people, but that is a huge difference of shift. Alright, here we go. 50 yards. You can see 5 shots right here after the pellet probe bumper install. Wow. 2600 psi starting pressure, 0 turns on the hammer spring. All the way around, it is 3/8 of an inch center to center. All the way around. 5 shots right there. That is nuts. O-ring delete kit, factory magazine, through the side shot, again 50 yards with the pellet bumper. Wow. JSB 1589s. So now we are back here with the Avenger 25 cal, and believe it or not, the dimensions of the pellet probe tip, not the probe itself, but the tip, are the exact same as the Avenger 22, and you could probably barely see it here. I'll get a close-up of the pellet bumper on here. And again, I shot this in some really windy conditions. A lot of you may or may not know, but I live out in the open, and it gets up to over 20-mile-an-hour winds here, and it's just crazy. And most of my shots in this video were prone, but this was off this table, and you can see just sitting here, it's just a hair wobbly. But I think, and the reason why a lot of people blame the wind is because of the straightness of the projectile first going into the barrel. You know, if your projectile is not straight going in here, it doesn't matter downrange what it shoots, because it was never straight to begin with. And again, you know, you could see that, and what happens is, usually in most cases, you'll have a horizontal spread. But not always. The group could just open up because you're wobbly and all that. But the horizontal spreading is usually what happens when the head of the projectile is off its axis going into the barrel. It's not straight in line with the barrel as it's going in. So again, using the factory magazines, factory 25 cal magazine, I shot some H&N Barracuda 31 grain, and holy cow, this thing is just something else. Even in those windy conditions with the pellet bumper, keeping those pellets straight as possible, and you can hear the wind whipping. It was amazing shooting with this pellet bumper and how much it actually works. Without the pellet bumper, 50 yards. the Pellet Pro bumper. Wow, that is nuts. Okay, so I'm out here messing around at 50 yards with my 25 cal Avenger, shooting the H&N Barracuda 31 grain at 840 feet per second at the muzzle, 2900 psi regulator pressure, 2 turns in on the hammer spring O-ring delete kit, factory magazine, without the pellet bumper and with it. And this is 12-mile-an-hour winds, guys, and you can see, wow, the center of the group shifted just a hair. 12-mile-an-hour winds though, and look at that group. Wow, 3/4 of an inch there, center to center at 50 yards, a little less actually. Wow. 3/8 of an inch, 5 shots. That is crazy. Holy cow. Again, without the pellet bumper and with it, even in 12-mile-an-hour winds, I found out that the pellet bumper keeps the pellets, the heads of the pellets straight, on top of not allowing the skirts to get damaged from using the Marauder style magazine, the softer lead pellets. After all that, watching and testing and stuff like that, guys, I really appreciate it and asking about it. You know, I'm really wanting to get these out there, so I think what I'm gonna do is I believe I'll probably charge $8, which that covers my time and effort because they're not a crucial piece of material. I cut it, put it in an envelope, put your name on it, put a stamp on it, and mail it out. So I think $8 is pretty fair. It doesn't take me as long to precisely cut the delete ring, the O-ring delete, because I have to measure and I hand cut every one of those. So if you have a problem with your O-ring delete, definitely get a hold of me. I've been helping a lot of people as much as I can. If you want a refund, I understand that too. But the thing is, I like to make sure that people are taken care of and they get the most out of their gun. Because again, I wouldn't just be making this stuff up if it really wouldn't work. A lot of you guys know this, and to me, this seems to help my shooting, especially with the low velocities I was shooting in the 22s. As you heard me mention a couple times, I was shooting in the mid 700s pretty much the whole video, and the slugs were shooting less than 600 feet per second, which is insane. I mean, who does that? But anyway, So like I said, guys, I really appreciate you watching, and hope you got something from this video. So I have these available. They fit the Origin, they fit the Air Venturi 22 cal Avenger, and they fit the 25. What I do not know is if they fit the 25 Gauntlet. The 22 Gauntlet, I'm still working on it because I feel like the fitment is not right. The pellet bumper is not that snug of a fit on the Gauntlet 22 probe. So as of right now, I believe I'm going to only offer these for the 25, 22 Avenger and the 22 Origin. Now if the 177 Avenger probe tip is the same, then it'll work, but I don't know that. So anyways, again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one, and I hope I answered all your guys' questions and testing with this. I know each shooter is different, what type of accuracy, vision of accuracy they want, but I can give you 100% guarantee it will outshoot the factory magazine without it. That's what I can tell you. I mean, I've been testing, again, 3 different guns, and it just blows everything out of the water. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you on the next one.